the 5th Perek, the first Mishnah in Sefer Yetzira. And we're learning about 32 forces, or 32 aspects of creation, 32 forms of clothing that resulted in the Tselem Elohim, in the divine form. And the divine form is what's being explained and expressed by the human body. And within the body we have the organs that are representing each force, expressing each force. In this organ, there's many levels, many dimensions of information, from the shape to the color, to the texture, to the size, to the function, to the relationship with the other organs. Everything means, everything is alive, everything is testifying to something that is real, beyond all the real we've ever imagined. What we've imagined is not real. What we've imagined is a thought. A thought is just a pattern created by reality. But it's not real in that way. It doesn't encompass the nature of what is happening here. A thought doesn't have room for that. And so reality itself is beyond anything that can be thought. And yet these organs are demonstrating that reality that is beyond any thought. These organs are messengers that have come a long distance from beyond time, into space, into this particular time, and here it's testifying. And so these organs are doing a function that together create consciousness, that together create perception. Based on the condition of the organs is the quality of perception. If the organs are going through some type of a distress, perception is being distracted. If the organs are in a state of elation, in a state of united function, then perception is enhanced until we get to a level of prophecy. Prophecy means the organs are so united and they desire the expression of the spirit so deeply that the organs themselves are saying. And so the spirit is being completely revealed when all the organs are saying. When it's just the mind saying, or when it's just a little part of the mind saying, or when the mind has an agenda and therefore it's saying, this is something that conceals the soul. This might very well violate the principles of the soul. Using speech, not for its intended purpose, which is revelation of soul, is violating the principles of the soul. This is why speaking Dvarim B'Telem is such a terrible thing. It's hard to register because we don't see ourselves as divine beings. We think it's some type of a cruelty. Say what? I can't just say a few words? Who cares? No, you're a divine being. When you say a few words, you just moved heavens. You just changed the condition of different worlds. These are not just words. You're shaking the core of reality. You're using your divine power. You're giving form to the formless. You're putting on a dress for the ultimate. And so speech is a divine expression, a revelation of soul. A speech that violates the revelation of soul is a speech that's against the principles of the soul. this results in less body, less matter that can host spirit. The wrong speech, there will be less matter to host spirit. Immediately, it doesn't take time. And so, the organs are always listening, the organs are always reacting, the organs know. The organs are tuned into the truth, we're not tuned into the organs. We get annoyed sometimes by the organs. Why can't they be where we want them to be? No, you're supposed to be where they want you to be. You're supposed to learn them. You're supposed to learn the principles of the Spirit. You're only here to reveal the Spirit. You have no other purpose. If you don't reveal the Spirit, hopefully you're involved in helping someone that does, because then you made yourself a purpose. Otherwise, why did the Spirit dress up like that? What would be the point? What does it want? It wants to be revealed. What's the relationship between you and the revelation of the Spirit? This is why a Kiddush Hashem is at the root of the whole Torah. It's the purpose of the whole Torah. It's to reveal the ultimate Spirit, the Spirit within all spirits. A Chilul Hashem is the one thing that you can't get forgiveness for until the end of life. Because the very cause of coming into this physical form is to reveal the Spirit. And so if there's a desecration of the Spirit, what was the point? Why all this suffering? Why all this madness? Why go through all this? And it starts with speech. This is the closest way we have to affect the organs. There are higher and deeper ways, but for those ways, first our speech needs to heal. Because until then, we and the organs are not getting along. They're not listening to our conscious intentions. They're not cooperating with us. We're not cooperating with them. We're violating their principles. We're reducing their desire. They don't want to help us. The mind is one business. The body is another business. This is how the Western world likes it. Make a lot of money like that. You sell the body things that the mind was supposed to give it to it for free. And that includes the medical system. Medical system is run for profit. The mind shouldn't have made the damage in the first place. But it's not present in the body, therefore there's damage. And then we sell to the body what the mind was supposed to give for free. The same goes for all types of enjoyment. When the mind is present within the body, when the soul has access to the body, every organ is enjoying all the time. It doesn't need an excuse to enjoy. When there's a conflict between the mind and the body, we're going to pay people to entertain us so that some of our organs can feel some enjoyment. We have show business. Take me away from reality so I can enjoy. This is in conflict with the Spirit. The world of fantasy is in conflict with the Spirit. Why is it in conflict? It's giving joy. Oh, this is not the joy the Spirit wants. Not the one it needs to pay for. Not the one it needs to leave reality for. Not that type of enjoyment. It wants the type of enjoyment that reveals the Spirit, not the type of enjoyment that conceals the Spirit. And so the biggest enemy of the revealed Spirit is not pain. Pain is the opposite of the Spirit. The Spirit is enjoyment. But the biggest enemy of the revelation of the Spirit is not pain. The biggest enemy of the revelation of the Spirit is enjoyment that conceals the Spirit. That's the biggest enemy. Pain will make us inquire and find the right expression of the spirit. Pain will say, oh, we're violating the principles. We must find the principles and know how to behave. But the pleasure of the organs that conceal the spirit, this is the ultimate enemy of the spirit. Where does it lead? To pain that can no longer be revealed. We can no longer reveal the spirit in that pain, because the vessel is not designed anymore for that type of enjoyment. The vessel has been made impure. And so these organs, they have personalities. They have their way of seeing the world. They have what's important to them. They have what results in them producing their different types of energies, different types of hormones, different types of neurotransmitters, whatever their function is. They're listening to every conversation, and they say, oh, here's my job. Now I do this. Now I sing my song. Oh, I hear fear in that story. Now I'm going to release that cortisol, adrenaline. This is my turn to sing. He was listening to every word. Oh. They have their personalities. They have their way of seeing life. They're a whole character in and of themselves. Each organ has a whole character, has a whole tzelem Elohim, from head to toe. He has his brain, he has his heart, he has his liver. He's doing the whole story. And when he's disrespected, he turns against the one who disrespected him. This is part of his personality. Why do we have such a difficult time opening up our hearts? It's because the things that we have said in our mind was not sensitive to our heart. And so our heart learned that the one living in that mind is not my friend. I cannot listen to him freely. And so there becomes a conflict, a real conflict. It's time to open the heart. He's not opening. And so it goes for everyone, for all the different personalities. These personalities are represented in the 12 zodiac signs. And this is the astrological chart, is all these different personalities, and how are they getting along in this collective personality? What are their flavors based on the time and the different planets that animate those personalities? And how do these personalities get along? And the personality where the sun was at the time, which represents how this soul is going to be revealed from within the body, how does it get along with the personality where the moon was, which is more related to the subconscious feelings and the things that it's less aware of, that are sometimes full and sometimes empty? How is the relationship between the sun and the moon? This is also happening in the big tzelem Elohim. This is happening in the solar system. There are the itim, there are the times, there are different moods. The world goes through moods, not in just individual humans. All the worlds go through cycles of moods. But since the Eitz Hadas Tovera, since humanity has learned to have negative moods, then we got trouble, because now these moods can turn against us. Before the Eitz Hadas, there were moods, but all the moods were constructive. After the Eitz Hadas, there are moods, but some of the moods are destructive. And so we have to be mevader. We have to clean out the spirits from the destructive spirits. Humanity has been infested with destructive spirits. We have to be mevader. We have to clear out the evil spirits away from the good spirits. This is why on Shabbos we're not allowed to do boider. We're not allowed to take out the psoilis. We're not allowed to take out the bad spirits from the good spirits. We're not allowed to take out the bad from the good. Because B'yom Shekila Shabbos, after liberation, there will no longer be taking out spirits from other spirits. All spirits will be united. And so we won't have to do boider anymore. Boider is one of the curses that we were cursed after the original sin. All the 39 things we're not supposed to do on Shabbos are based on the 39 curses that came after the original sin. Evil was mixed with the good, and then there are 39 results, consequences that we are constantly suffering. This includes the woman's menstrual cycle and the time where the man and the woman need to separate. This is one of the curses. It includes the difficulties at childbirth and labor and pregnancy, all included in these curses. It even includes the smell that we have from our sweat. A human being is supposed to smell like a flower. The sour smell relates to sour moods. It relates to the good and the evil that cause a smell that's mixed. Some say even mosquitoes are part of the curse. But everything that's wrong with our experience is part of that curse. And the curse means, who is cursing us? It means, since we've been infested with negative spirits, we curse ourselves. As soon as we'll stop cursing, the curse is over. We are so powerful, we're so divine, that if there is negativity in us, we are cursing ourselves, and that curse will become, because we're divine. Humanity has been cursing itself for 6,000 years. Some generations more, some generations less. What does it depend on? The wisdom of the generation. If the leaders are wise, they bring a blessing. If the leaders don't understand what they're up against, they themselves become the curse. And so the organs are always listening, and the organs are playing out the blessing and the curse. This is why Moshe Rabbeinu says, I give witness in you today, the heaven and the earth. Who is the heaven and the earth? The spirit and the body. The spirit and the body are testifying that Moshe said the right principles, and those will be the principles, and those were always the principles. And if we will follow the principles, it will be good. And if we will not follow the principles, then we will be cursing ourselves. And those curses will come. And then we will ask, why is this happening? It's happening because I don't remember that I'm divine. And so I think I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Who cares? What? He won't understand? He understands. He knows what's happening. He knows the consequences of what's happening too. And he feels bad for you, for what you're doing to yourself. And he wishes you knew how powerful you were, so you will stop doing that to yourself. And so these organs that are receiving the light of the spheres, the light of the emanations of the intelligences that know the principles, these are separated into the 22. The 10 principles, the 10 spheres, and the 22 vessels that receive the spheres. 3 of them were the elements, fire, water, and air, that are all over our body and together create the organs. They're all over the astrological signs. Each one has a different one that it represents between the elements, and each one has its own mix of how it expresses that element. And then we have the 7 organs of the brain that we counted out, the 2 eyes, the 2 ears, the 2 nostrils and the mouth. These are all expressions of spirit. These are all alive. These are all listening. These are all responding in real time, because the El Chai, the force that lives, is alive in them, and they know what they need to do, and they understand everything that's happening. Better than the one that's thinking in the brain. Not better than the brain. The brain knows 1,000,000 times more than what it tells us. But the one that's aware in the brain that thinks, oh, I know. No, every cell of your body knows better than you. Not only don't you know, you are the cause of all the trouble, the way you think. They know what they're doing. You are obstructing their path because you don't know the principles. They only operate by the principles. And so the last portion is the 12 organs that surround the heart. And these organs are balancing the heart, and these are the reasons for why the heart reacts the way that she reacts. And so this is where we go with this parak, where it says, 12 pshutas, the 12 simple letters, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, Lamed, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Tzadi, Kuf, Havas, Chati, Lanas, Atzak. These are the letters. Where do we find them in the body? Yesoidan. Their root is the functions of the body. Later we will see the organs, but the root of their expression is the functions of the body. Like what? What can you do with the human body? Re'iyah, you can see. Shmiya, you can hear. Reicha, you can smell. Sicha, you can talk. Le'ita, you can eat. Tashmish, you can have relations and to create children. Masa, you can do things with your hands. Hilich, you can walk. Roiges, you can get upset. Schoik, you can laugh. Hitter, you can think. And Shina, you can sleep. This is what the body produces. The productions of the body are the expressions of the divine. The productions of the body teach us about the relationship between the divine and humanity. The body can see. He can see you. What does it mean for him to see you? We'll never know. He can see you. Whatever you do, he knows. Whatever you speak, he hears. Why doesn't he react immediately? Well, he hears all 8 billion of us. And he is reacting immediately. You don't speak Lashon HaKodesh. You don't understand how he operates. He's waiting for you to come to him. He hears you. He is responding live in real time. But he is the way that he is. You have to learn his way. And so everything that we find a human being can do, we will find Vayar Hashem, Vayishma Hashem, Vayireach Hashem, Vayedaber Hashem. The Torah will speak the language of the human body and will tell you how the divine is doing that. This was the nature of the prophet, to go back to his divine origin. When the prophet was speaking, Shechina medaberes mitoch geroinoi. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe Lemer. Who is speaking? Moshe's throat is speaking, but the divine is revealing through Moshe's throat. And Moshe hears, and Moshe's mind knows. Moshe's mind is learning from his organs. His essence is speaking. His mind is listening. Midos and 12 Gvulim Balachsoinan. When you have a cube, we had the 6 dimensions of space. Wherever you have 6 dimensions, you have meeting points between the 6 directions, which is the 3 dimensions. You have meeting points between the walls of each direction. And so on the right side, you would have the place where it meets the top, it meets the bottom, it meets the front, it meets the back. On the left side, you will have again 4. Meets the top, meets the bottom, meets the back, meets the front. And then you have on top and on the bottom where they meet the back and the front. So altogether you have 12 meeting spaces where these directions meet. And so the directions represent the attributes. Wherever there's a meeting of attributes, there's a personality. The personality of the zodiac sign is an interaction between attributes. And so the divine attributes, which are the 6 attributes, which are called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. Tiferes is called HaKadosh Baruch Hu because it's the center, it's the machriya between all of these. This is represented by the heart. And so wherever the organs meet, wherever the attributes meet, there's a personality that gets created. Until there's the grand personality that is the total of all these personalities together. The personality of the human being is the total of all his personalities, of all his organs. An integrated human being, all his organs become one personality. A human being that hasn't yet integrated, he has different personalities that he's juggling. The personalities of his organs didn't turn into one personality, they are fragmented. He has fragmented personalities that have different opinions about things. There isn't the revelation of the soul. There isn't room yet for the revelation of the spirit. And so these are the 12 sides. Here he counts them out. Gvul Mizrachas Tzefainis. The east and the north has a corner. Gvul Mizrachas Droimis. The east and the south. Gvul Mizrachas Roimis. The east on top. Gvul Mizrachas Tachtis. The east on the bottom. Gvul Tzefainis Roimis. The north on the top. Gvul Tzefainis Tachtis. The north on the bottom. Gvul Marovis Droimis. The west and the south. Gvul Marovis Tzefainis. The west and the north. Gvul Marovis Roimis. The west and the top. Gvul Marovis Tachtis. The west and the bottom. Gvul Droimis Roimis. The right and the south and the top. Gvul Droimis Tachtis. The south and the bottom. So these 12, in the spiritual world, they represent interactions of attributes. In the physical world, they represent space. And so if you continue going in any direction, whether it's in the space or it's in the attributes, you can go and go and go ad adayad, which means forever. They have no limit. They have as much depth as you can imagine. Just like in your thought, if you're thinking and you move to the right, you can keep doing that all day and all night. You're still going to keep moving to the right in the world of thought, because the world of thought has no limits to its dimensions. You just move in whichever direction. And so the world of attributes has no limits. That's the greatness of the source. That any level of tzelem elim, any level of expression you're going to come with a vessel with, he's going to have a spirit to that vessel. There's no limit. He's going to be able to express that attribute without any limits. If a human being will come with a vessel, how did Avram Avinu bring kindness into the world? He became the vessel for kindness. His kindness created kindness in the world. His kindness expressed the kindness of the Creator in the world. And therefore, the whole world became more kind. And therefore, we as a nation came into existence. We're supposed to express the kindness that's going to reveal the Spirit. And so these attributes, they have no end. These directions, they have no limits. Here in the Perish Haravid, he compares these 12 animations of the body to the 12 tribes. And again, with all these things, there are so many different gersors, there's so many different variations, versions of how to align what with what. But the main thing that we're learning, at least, is that they're correlated, that there's a relationship between the months, between the Shvatim, between the zodiac signs, between the body parts, between the expressions and the animations of the body. We're learning that there's a relationship. Meditating on that is enough for now. If we've meditated on that long enough and that has become our natural reality, then we would go to the next step, which would be finding the right gersa to manifest. So then we would want to know, okay, if I'm going to meditate on my sight, which shevet should I think about when I'm meditating on my sight? If I'm going to meditate on my sound. And so like this, we're giving back the forces to the spirit. We're returning life to things that have died as a result of mistreatment. And so even though we see, but we're not friends of seeing, we're not one with this aliveness. We have to return there. We have to become owners again. We have to remember ourselves in our eyes. We have to remember ourselves in all our organs. And so then we would want to know in detail which way should we set up the entire Tzelem Elohim. But for now, it's enough that we realize that there's a correlation between these things, and this is the language of the Torah. This is how it speaks about these things. And so here, he says, Mikoach Yidbais Oisir Shel Shem Ben Yidbais, there's a name of God that's made out of 12 letters that relates to him being the past, the present, and the future, which is basically 3 times his name. But that's one letter per each one of the 12. Then the next level down, as it evolves, is Mehem L'Shem Ben Yidbai Zavayis, the 12 permutations of the name. So if we take the name Yudei Vavei, we try to combine all the different permutations. Because there's a duplicate letter, we end up with 12 different permutations. These represent the 12 months. This can be found in the Seder by the Musaf of Rosh Chodesh. To be mechaven this name, each month to be mechaven a different name, this is coming from the Arizal. So that we actually correlate the name that we're calling into existence by the month, by the birth of the moon. And these 12 permutations, mehem liyid by tzenoris, it goes to 12 channels, which become the forces that we are talking about, these letters, the single letters. These are the channels. And mehem liyid by shvatim, from these channels it goes to the 12 tribes. And this means that Yaakov Avinu, when he created each tribe, his intention was to bring the infinite force into manifestation through the dress of this organ, through the dress of this specific astrological sign. And so he was able to bring children from each organ. This is a demonstration of a very deep divine power that they knew intimately at that time. And this was what was given over, the secrets of how to bring in human beings into the world. This was the original tradition that got dressed up and dressed up and dressed up until it seems to be something completely foreign to the human form. But at the root, this is what it is. This is what the Torah really is. Instructions, it's the divine manual for the Tzelem Elohim, specifically as it pertains to speech and the creation of children. Because this is the human production. This is what we are here for. This is the revelation of the soul. So all types of art are a fallen way of revealing the soul, because the soul hasn't been revealed. And so the art represents some type of a riddle or a metaphor. But the thing itself is the revelation of soul. The revelation of soul is in word and in seed. And so he says, "V'hinei hare'iyah the sight meyucheses leReuven, shenemar kiro Hashem ba'onyi." Sight to Reuven, and this is easy to find on the face in order. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. Reuven is sight, Shimon is sound, Levi is smell, Yehuda is speech. And so these go directly from the top of the face to the bottom. Shmir l'Shimon shenema kishama Hashem kisnu anoichi. Hashem heard that I'm hated, therefore he gave me another son. Sicha leYehuda shenemer apam oides Hashem. So speech goes to Yehuda. He doesn't have Levi by smell, actually, as we'll see. Le'ita l'asher shenemar masher shmeinu lachmoi. Le'ita means eating. He gives to Asher. Asher, it says he has satiating bread. Hilach lezvulin, going is to zvulin. Shenemar zvulin l'choif yamim yishkon. He's bringing from the name they were called, and the pasuk, how it expresses the reason for the name, the root of the name, for those names that have a root, that relate to these functions. And in the other ones, he's going to the blessings of Moshe and seeing how Moshe expressed that shevet, that tribe, how he described them, and from there he's bringing proof where they belong on the list. Roigez ledan, shenema yehi dan nochesh al derech. Dan represents a snake, so therefore it represents anger. Anger is the evil inclination, and that was brought on by the snake. And so the enjoyment that is not accurate eventually results in anger. So this is like a wife and a husband. The wife is the enjoyment that seems to be pleasant. And then as soon as we let in the wife, comes the husband after, which is the frustration, because there isn't the revelation of soul. And so therefore the husband comes after the wife, and he brings the frustration, the disappointment, and the anger. And so this is by Dan. Dan was the only shevet, the only tribe that ever had an idol. The Pesel Micha was in shevet Dan. And this is because Dan is considered to be the most inferior in the sense of their spiritual power. They're the bottom of, they were the last ones between the tribes in the Machne. And they were the ones that would clean up everything else. Dan was called the Ma'asef Lekol HaMachnes, meaning whoever is not in the right level, he falls to the level of Dan, and then he's still part of Klal Yisrael because we have Dan. And so Dan is included in Klal Yisrael, even though he is not at the same level as the rest of the Shvatim. Schoik leNaftali, laughter goes to Naftali, shenemar v'leNaftali, Omer Naftali svar rotzen, imol leberches Hashem. He's one who is in good spirits. Here Yisascher, thought, contemplation goes to Yisascher. Yisascher chamor gerem roetz ben mishpesoim. Yisascher is the one that represents learning and knowing the different times, knowing the nature of the spirit, how it changes by the times. That's specifically mentioned for Yisascher. Yoidei bina leitim, those who understand the times. Because he thinks about Torah, he brings out the wisdom to light. Tashmish, which is procreation, lelevi. So here, that's what I said, he doesn't give it smell, he gives it procreation. They protect your bris, the covenant. And so here, it refers to the Shevet Levi that keeps the relationship between the spiritual and the physical. The priests are protecting the covenant. And this represents procreation because this is the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina, between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. V'omer apam yilov eishi elai. She said, when Levi was born, this time my husband will be close to me. Shina le Binyamin, sleep he gives to Binyamin, shnemer ben ksef of shochen. He rested between his shoulders. Reichel le Yosef, he gives Yosef smell. And here, this is the opposite of the usual language in Kabbalah, where Yosef represents Tashmish, Yosef HaTzadik, and Levi represents smell. Yisimu K'toira Ba'apecha, because they lie the K'toiras. And so here he has them turned around. So he says by Yosef Rech, Keshanim Lat Meshes Petifer, Yotzarecha Misof Oilam Vatzoifoi. So he had a good smell because he saved himself from entertaining the wrong energy. V'yesh mefarshim reichel leLevi. He brings it. V'yesh mefarshim reichel leLevi. Some say smell is to Levi. Shenema yisimu k'toira ba'apecha. They'll put the incense in your nose. V'tashmish liYosef shenema ben Perez Yosef miloshin pirya v'rivya. Because Yosef represents procreation. V'yimol temeshes petifa. He protected the holiness of his procreation by not wanting to be with the wrong woman. V'yesh mefarshim sicha leNaftali. Some say speech goes to Naftali. Shenema nos nimre shofer. He speaks nicely. Imasa leYehuda. Action to Yehuda. Shenema yodav rav loy, that he has the strong hands. Keloya malchus asher kol masa biyoda, because he has the kingdom like David HaMelech. So he had the yadayim charutzos. He had these hands that were able to take care of the kingdom. Some give smell to Yisachar because of the flowers that have a smell. Levi hear and thought to Levi, because they were the ones who were teaching in Egypt. They were the ones who would learn the Torah and give over the wisdom generation to generation. And also in the Torah we will find that these are 12 ways that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is said to have been animated. Like Vayar Hashem, he saw. Vayishma Hashem, he heard. Vayarach Hashem, he smelled. Vaydaber Hashem, he spoke. Elashona ke'esh acheles, he eats. Kashem elokecha esh achlu. V'noichi ba'alti b'chem, the procreation. Eskamas Hashem agodol, action. V'chor af Hashem, anger. Holchu elehim, movement. Yoshev Hashemayim, yischak, laughter. Choshev Hashem lahashchis, thought. Ira Lamasishan Hashem is sleep. Sleep is like when there's a lack of consciousness. We call it as if Hashem is sleeping. This is what's happening in the exile. It's as if Hashem is sleeping. Hashem is not sleeping or no one would be alive. But it's as if he's sleeping because he is not being revealed. He is here and he is not here. He is here in his actual presence. He is not here in the revelation. When you will find these expressions in the Torah where it says he saw, he heard, he smelled, he says you will not understand what it really means unless someone gave over to you specifically, someone who has received this wisdom. You can't actually think this way about the ultimate. The ultimate we can't relate to with these types of animations because he's beyond any conception. And if we say he sees, we're placing a conception on his experience. And so to know how to apply these, we need specific instruction. We must avoid trying to describe him or define him in these ways. Second Mishnah, Shteimaser Pshitas, Havas Chatilanas Atzak. Chakakan Chatzvan Shaklan Tzarflan Emiran. He engraved them, he carved them out, he weighed them, he combined them, and he exchanged them. Vitzar Bem Shteimaser Mazolas, and he drew with them 12 astrological signs Ba'olam. This is in space. So where do we find these personalities in space? Each one has its own space, galaxies of space, where all these stars are together creating a personality. Where are they in time? 12 months. Where are they in consciousness? We will see the body parts that they are expressed in. And it's not the body parts for the functions. The functions and the body parts are separate things. The functions are one way of expression, how they animate the body. The body parts are the actual location that host this force, that represent this force. And so the Mazolas Ba'olam Simen Tashat Sa'ab Mak Gadad. This stands for Tle, Shor, Tuomim, Sartan, Aryeh, Besula. After Besula comes Maznaim, Akrav, Keshes. And the last three is Gedi, Dli, and Dogim. These are the 12 astrological signs. These signs are the spaces where these forces are being represented. And so the ancient world everyone, all the nations, all related to these heavenly forces. They all understood that this represents the wisdom of our nature. When it came to actually living by these principles, they all had different interpretations of how you're supposed to live it. But when it came to knowing that this is the nature of how we were created, they all knew. This is why they could be akum. Akum means ovdei kechovim umazolos. They worshipped these things. They knew about these things. They worshipped them. They didn't understand how they coexist together and what is the intelligence that's running them. ואלה 12 חודשים, the 12 months in time, בשנה, ניסן, אייר, סיוון, תמוז, אב, אלול, תשרי, מר חשוון, כסלו, טבת, ושבט, אדר. ואלה 12 מנהיגים בנפש, where are the organs in consciousness? שתי ידיים, 2 hands. שתי רגליים, 2 feet. שתי כלויס, 2 kidneys. תחול, כובד מורו, the spleen, the liver, and the gallbladder. Hemasis, kai vekurkavan, 3 different parts of the intestines, the digestive tract, and together we have 12. 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 kidneys is 6. The spleen, liver, and gallbladder, and the 3 digestive organs is another 6, and together we have 12. Asan Kamin Meriva, he made them into an argument. V'arkan Kamin L'choma, he designed them like a war. Meaning, the organs were designed to take stress and to be pushed beyond their limits, and they will balance themselves out. This is the wisdom of the organs. If the organs didn't have the wisdom of how to balance each other, then the body wouldn't have any continued existence. And so they were designed like in a war. One fulfills for the other, and one balances the other. And this way, everything is kept in check. And whenever something goes out of check, there's already something else that will put them back into check. And this is how the organs coexist. This is how there's balance within the body. So gam ezeh le'um hazeh oseh lehim. One thing against the other, that's how the divine designed everything. This is how from the unity came existence that reveals the unity. How does it reveal the unity? Because of the balance that exists between the parts. This is what reveals the unity. If there wasn't balance between the parts, we would say, oh, there are different forces that created different parts. But the balance between the parts is what testifies that they're all coming from one unity. This is why they balance each other. The parish he says, Hine b'shtei yadayim b'shtei raglayim klulim yud beis avayis. In just the 2 hands and 2 feet, you can already find all the 12. Like we said before, that everything is included in everything. So you can find there the 12. V'lamed beis nesivos kol echad. You could find the 32 paths b'chol echad mem, in each one. In each kidney there are 12 channels. Tivam so their nature is that through these 12 channels they process the seed that's coming from the brain, and from there it goes to the reproductive organ. And the seed comes through the spine, and it gets processed until it becomes ready to create a new life. And so these personalities, these forces that are at the essence, at the root of all existence, they dress up the seed until it becomes ready to become another human being. And so when the seed is given over, it has in it already the 22 letters and the 10 vowels. This is what's included in the seed, because the way that the seed describes the 22 letters and the 10 vowels, this is how the body is going to be created, and this is the type of soul, the type of spirit that can be revealed in that body. And so it's already given over from the original exchange that then develops and develops throughout a lifetime. The next Mishnah, Ketzat how did he combine them? Himlich oisei v'kosher keser. So again, this is the girsa of the Ravid, even though we're seeing it in the Mishnah, but these Mishnahs have very different girsors. So every one that places different relationships between these 12 items has a different girsa in this Mishnah. But here we're learning like this. The letter Hey, kosher keser, he gave him a crown, meaning he pulled in desire to manifest this force and give it a place in space, in time, and in consciousness. V'tzar bo tle ba'olam, he made Aries in space. V'nisan b'shono, and Nisan, the month, in time, in the year. V'yad yamin b'nefesh, and the right hand on the level of consciousness. And this is Zachar and Nekeva. It's like before. Because these are vessels, there's a part of this force that's going to dress up as the manifesting force, which is the male, the masculine energy, and the part of this force that's going to be the receiving force, that's going to develop it in the world of matter, and that's the female, the feminine energy. The next one, Him lechois vav v'kosher lekeser, the letter vav, tzar b'shar ba'olam, he made Taurus in space, v'ir b'shono, an ear, the month ear in time, v'yat small b'nefesh, in the left hand in consciousness. Him lechois zayin v'kosher lekeser, the letter zayin, he gave him a crown, tzar b'tu'umim ba'olam, Gemini in space, v'sivan b'shono, sivan in time, v'regel yamin b'nefesh, in the right foot, the right leg in consciousness. Him lechois ches v'kosher lekeser, the letter ches gave it a crown. V'tzar b'sartem ba'olam, Cancer in space, Tammuz b'shono, v'regel small b'nefesh, in the left foot in consciousness. Him lechois tes v'kosher lekeser, the letter tes, he gave her a crown. V'tzar b'aryeh ba'olam, lion in time, which is Leo. V'av b'shono, chodesh av. This is why we're going to have now, hopefully, a very, very big celebration on the 9th day of Av, when the lion is going to turn towards us with grace and is going to fight for us and not against us. As long as we don't have the Beis Hamikdash, it means that the lion is against us, and therefore we mourn. But as soon as the lion will work in our favor, we're going to rejoice, and Tisha B'Av is going to become a holiday, a day of celebration, to celebrate the force of the lion. And so Aryeh is where it is in space, this force. V'av b'shona, av is where it belongs in time. V'kulya yamin b'nefesh, and the right kidney in nefesh. And this day relates to the passages of the blood. All the days relate to the passages of the blood in the veins and in the arteries. So you have 365 days in the year. Each day represents a different connection where the blood travels between the organs. The months are the organs, like we are discussing, but the days are the veins that are connecting the organs. And so the vein that represents Tisha B'Av is the Gid HaNoshe, is the vein that we don't eat, because the energy of Esav was so strong, it overpowered Yaakov in that area specifically. All the other veins Yaakov was able to protect. That vein he couldn't protect. And so because Yaakov had weakness in that vein, this is already showing that there is a potential for the lion to turn against us. And then the Chorban came on that day, the day that we are weak, the day that Yaakov couldn't protect from Esav, that's the day when the destruction comes. And so this is all the same language. Himlechos Yud v'kosher lekesed, the letter Yud, tzarbe besula ba'olam, he made Virgo in space, ve'elul b'shona, v'kol yismal b'nefesh, the left kidney in consciousness. Himlechos lamed v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe moznaim ba'olam. Libra, v'tishrei b'shona, v'koved b'nefesh, the liver. Himlechos nun v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe akrev ba'olam, Scorpio in time, in space. Imar cheshvan b'shona, and cheshvan in time. Itchol b'nefesh, the spleen in soul. Himlechos samach v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe keshes ba'olam, Sagittarius in space. Kislev b'shona. Imora b'nefesh, the gallbladder. Himlechos ayin v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe gedi ba'olam, Capricorn in space. Tevis b'shona. V'hemasis b'nefesh, one of the digestive organs in consciousness. Himlechos tzaddik v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe dli ba'olam. Aquarius, v'shvat b'shona, v'kevel b'nefesh, and the intestines. Himlechos kuf v'kosher lekesed, v'tzarbe dogen ba'olam, Pisces, v'odar b'shona. V'kurkavam b'nefesh is another one of the digestive organs. So the last three were the digestive. This is the winter months, which is when the whole cycle gets digested and we start a new cycle in the spring. Mishnah Gimel, the third Mishnah, Sholish Ames Shehem Shlosha Oves Shemehem Yotza Esh V'Ruach V'Mayim. Shlosh Imois. We had the three mothers. From there came out three fathers, and from there came out the fire, the air, and the water that we know about. Sholosh Imois, the three mothers. V'Sheva Kfulos, the seven duplicates. V'Shnei Mosar Pshutos, the 12 simple ones. So now we're recounting everything. We counted everything originally, and then we went into the detail, and now we're counting everything again. This is in the order of klal uprate klal, which is one of the ways of the Torah, how it expresses itself. Klal, first it tells us the 32. Prat, it goes into the detail. It says there were 10 that were spheres, and there were 22 that were letters. Then it goes into the details of the letters, and it says there were 3 that were mothers, and there were 7 that were duplicates, and there were 12 that were singles, and it gets into the details of all of them. And now it's giving a klal again. Now it's again summarizing for us what we had. And now the last Mishnah, Mishnah Dalet, of the last Mishnah of this Perek. Elu Esrim V'Shtayim Oisius, these are the 22 letters. Shebehem Yosad HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yo Havaye Tzvoes Elehim Chaim, Elehei Yisrael Ram V'Nis V'Shoy Chanad V'Kodesh Moy, Morem V'Kodesh Hu. These were the 22 letters that, with these, he created the foundation for all that's to come in all of existence. And so now again we're going back to the original Mishnah. What was the first Mishnah? These were the 32 paths. With 32 paths, he created all that exists. And now he's summarizing these, the ones that we learned about. We went through the first chapter, speaking about the 10 intelligences, the 10 spheres. We went through the second chapter, we spoke about the mothers. We went through the third chapter, we spoke about the duplicates. We went through the fourth chapter. We spoke about the singles here in the fifth chapter. We went through all the chapters, we learned about all the details of all of them, and now he's reminding us, what are all of these? These are the forces, the divine forces with which he created all that exist. This is the source. These are the ways that he dressed everything that came forth. And this is the reason why we are in the form that we are. This is what our body is telling us. This is learning the very basic nature of how to identify yourself, of how to know who you are. You are designed by these forces. These forces are making you. And after they make you, you have the ability to express these forces through speech, through the 22 letters and the 10 vowels, and through the creation of seed, which has in it the 22 letters and the 10 vowels. Shichva Zera, the seed, the way that it's called in the Torah, the word Shichvas represents Shas Chov Beis. He places the 22 in the Zera. In the seed, there's the 22 letters. These are the 22 forces that are going to animate the egg of the female in order to create a human being. And this animation of the 22, this is what continues. This is what's talking to you now. This is what's listening to me now. This is the same 22. And these are represented in the elements, in the functions, in the organs, the way that we went through them. And all of them together create the Tzelem Elohim. All of them together create the form which represents the live God, the live force, the force that's always alive, always listening, always becoming, always responding to whatever is taking place. All the movement is happening in him and with him, and only through him. So now the Perish arrived. Elem chov b'yisrael shebem chok l'kiyah v'ayit tzvah selim Chaim elei Yisrael ram v'nisu shoichanad v'kodesh morim v'kodesh hu. These are the 22 letters that the divine, that is beyond conception, chose as a way of manifesting and revealing his glory. Perish Zois HaMishnah, the explanation is, Ke Perish Mishnah Perik Rishon. It's the same like in the first chapter. El Shekan Mevair, here, he is describing Echaes Spheres built Anifrodim Vanivdolim, V'chol ma shenimtzu min Anifrodim, K'mo shenemar es Shemaim v'Soretz Anim Oleim. He says there's the 10 emanations, the 10 intelligences, that reveal themselves in the 22 letters, that reveal themselves in the heavens and in the earth, in the souls and in the body, are all just a dress for the original one. He fills them all. Like the Pasuk says, As Hashemayim v'Soretz Anim Olei, I fill the heavens and the earth. And so all these expressions that dress him, he fills them with life. And then he is expressing the principles from within them. And then to the extent that we align with those principles, he is present and revealed in us. And to the extent that we violate those principles, he is concealed and hidden from us. And then our body plays out this drama in real time. And then we have an experience and we react to that experience. And eventually, this conversation between the organs and the soul is going to result in the accurate manifestation that was the original intention. That was the manifestation that was in the Garden of Eden. But this time, humanity is going to be on a different level. This time they will no longer return to violating the principles after they have learned on their own organs, in their own skin, the consequences of violating those principles. And then the spirit of evil will be banished, never to return. And the divine will be king forever forth. May it happen now.